so thrilled to be here with this movie today, and so excited to welcome some of the people who brought this film to life. Before I get started, I just wanted to let you know Jacob Elordi is unfortunately sick. He sends his deepest regrets he couldn't be here, but I mean, we have a pretty great lineup despite that. So please join me in welcoming producer Scott Stuber, producer Guillermo del Toro, actor Oscar Isaac, and director, writer, producer Guillermo del Toro. Are you so used to that? Like, do you go to Starbucks and they call out your name?
I'm in restaurant.
Really?
They see me come in and they go, woo! They close that salad bar.
We're all. There are no good restaurants with salad bars anymore. You need to plan where you find these
In
places.
my estimation, there have never been.
You're not a big fan of salad.
Congratulations on a fantastic movie. Whenever I have people as accomplished as any of you, I actually love to go back to the beginning and ask, where did you start in this business? What was your first job? Were you like, somebody's runner or driver, or where did it all begin?
For me, my first professional job was a PA in a movie, and I started by digging a grave.
Perfect. That's so on
A
brand.
movie called The Heart of the Night.
Wow.
And they say, go dig a grave. I'll do it.
And thus you were born.
Yeah, it was a cemetery where I used to have lunch.
Really? Well, again, this
Not
all
a joke.
tracks.
It's completely true.
Yeah.
I worked in the mental asylum. I was volunteering on the summer, and you had to cross through the morgue and have lunch in the cemetery.
There's so much about this.
It's
just like,
it's
yeah, of
sadly
course.
true.
Yeah. Anyone else, I'd be like, what? I'm like, yeah, okay, that tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Oscar, for you?
I did work in a morgue as well. I was a transporter. Yeah.
What does that mean?
Like at a hospital. So you move bodies, both living and not living,
Wow.
around. That was like my longest
Keep the line.
job.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Next is Ed Gein over
I was
there.
gonna say, Miles, you have to top that.
Well, I did not work in a morgue or dig a grave, but my first week, I started as a PA as well, and my first week on the job, driving the lead actor of the show to the airport, he lit a joint in the car, and I got an incredible contact high and drove him to the airport 9 miles an hour. And I thought I would like this was my job, so it was a fairly humble beginning as well.
And Scott was the passenger.
Right, we did get high. It was
Yes.
good. My first job, I was an assistant in the Universal Publicity Department, and I had to get the press clippings to Lou Wasserman's office by 8 a.m. And if I didn't, I would have been dead, and they would have found me in the morgue. But that was my first job.
Wow. Actually, in fairness, Oscar, what was your first acting job?
My first speaking role, I did a little bit of extra work in Miami, but then my first speaking role was in a movie called All About the Benjamins with Ice Cube.
Do you remember the line?
Was that?
Do you remember the line to the...
My name is Frank!
Frank! Wow. That's wild.
And then I get shot.
Well, look at how far you've all come. And then-
Frank, it was pretty...
From Frank to Frankenstein. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I want to start at the beginning with Guillermo, because I know you've been wanting to bring Mary Shelley's Gothic story to the screen for years. And I'm a big believer that things happen at the right time for the right reasons. So what were some of the themes you really wanted to explore, and why is now the perfect time for this movie?
Oh, it's always been. I mean, 1818, when she writes it, she's surrounded by war. She's surrounded by nonsensical war. She's trying to define the role of women in society. She's trying to ask, who are we? What makes us human? And what is to be the other? So the questions that we're asking in 2026, is really 2025, 26 is going to be the moment to ask ourselves these questions. And the reflection that what she brings that is new, the fantastical narratives, because there was not even a genre back then, were influenced mostly by Judeo-Christian sense of good and evil. And she's the first one that brings a philosophical point of view. She basically uses a cornerstone for the novel is, most people say it's anti-science. It isn't, in my opinion. there's the idea of man standing up to God and saying, "Why did you create me? Why am I here?" And that comes mostly from John Milton, Paradise Lost and so forth. And the Romantics were really in a way, people hear the word romantic and they imagine something namby-pamby or languid. These were absolutely badasses.
Yeah.
They were punks.
Yeah.
They were very young people racing against the establishment and saying, we have questions that we want to ask of you. And that jived with me. At age 7, I saw the James Whale movie after church on a Sunday, and I found my Messiah. I said, that Boris Karloff is me.
Yeah.
And he's to me the representation of how I feel at age 7. And then at age 11, I read the novel and I said, this is not the movie I saw. I can ask these questions and I can talk about my father and me. And through the years, you aged with the material. I studied the Romantics. I wrote prologues for editions of the book, and I studied everything I could in the context of it, and I realized it was a biography of Shelley, obliquely, and I started mixing with my own biography, trying to ask those questions again, and questions of my father, and then I realized I had become a father. And now I have questions that were asked of me by my kids. And I realized the pain had passed, and I saw my father on the mirror one day. I thought, I become him. And all of that mixed into making, fortunately, me taking the time. Scott and I tried to get it made about more than 20 years ago. And I'm glad it happened now, because just like Johnny Cash sings hurt when he's really old and tired and dented, I feel like I needed to be the man being questioned as much as the man making the questions.
Yeah, absolutely.